So I went through this weekend and said, what are kind of the most Googled questions for lawyers as it relates to personal injury questions? And so I'm going to throw them out to you two fine gentlemen, and you give your advice to these questions from the interweb. So if I have been involved in an auto accident, should I go to the doctor? What is your response to that?
Hey, by the way, I just went and looked it up. The State Guarantee Association does cover title insurance, any kind of insurance in the state of Mississippi. So there is a layer of protection. So
definitely reach out to the Mississippi Department of Insurance. They're going to be able to give you the right route to be able to travel. So
if your company went under.
If the company went under in that situation.
Right.
But yeah, so the question is some of the most Googled legal questions. If I've been involved in an auto accident, should I go to the doctor?
If you're hurt, if you're sore, I mean, if you're fine, no, of course not.
Yep.
But if you're sore, I've never seen where a person has once in a blue moon, has a accident and within the next day or two they're not sore.
Mm-hmm.
Because your body and all the adrenaline it's created, and then actually when that adrenaline goes away, that's when the pain can really start. And if you don't take care of something on the front end, it could get worse on the back end. So going to the doctor is, and I'll just tell you a personal story for me. I was you just get busy and don't do the things you should do. I was running late for a jury trial many years ago, and I was running up the back steps, and I had my hands full, and I started to fall, so I grabbed the handrail while I was falling to keep me up. Hurt my shoulder, and it hurt off and on for years. Didn't do therapy, didn't do things I should have done. Now I have arthritis in that shoulder because I did not do what I should have done at the beginning. So you think things will go away. You don't know.
Mm-hmm.
You really don't know. And if you don't go to the doctor, and let's assume you wait 3 weeks and it doesn't go away, and then you go to the doctor, the insurance company is going to argue that it's not related to the car accident. They call that gap in treatment, and they're not going to pay you for it.
Yep.
So, yes, if you're sore in any kind, you should go to the doctor, and you should never settle your case with an insurance company if you have any kind of pain at all, because you have no idea what could happen.
Absolutely. Great answer. Well, we're going to continue after this break with some of the most Googled legal questions and give you, good advice on what to do with them. You are listening to the Richard Schwartz and Associates Injury Lawyers Legal Power Hour, and we'll be right back. It's Injury Lawyers Legal Power Hour. I'm Patrick Wooten, joined by Mark Burton and the man, the myth, the legend, Richard Schwartz. We are going through some of the most common Googled legal questions. So as we continue down this path, here's a good one. It says, what information should I gather at the accident scene? You've been in a wreck. What should you do at the scene?
Well, and you may want to get into it, Mark, as well, but there's always a standard. You should never move the cars unless you're a danger to yourself or someone else. Other than that, you wait on the police. Always get an accident report. Take photographs. Any witnesses who appear, use your phone and record them and get their address and phone number. All of those are important factors, or even the person who caused the accident, they'll say, oh, it's my fault, I'm sorry. Record it. Because they change their mind a lot of times after the fact of the accident. So anything like that is very viable and very important. And I think that some people will, and I've had plenty of cases where the person just takes off because they're tired of waiting for the police department. You make sure you got their tag, you got their information, you got any witnesses, whatever their statement may be. Anything like that is very, very important.
Yeah, we've learned a lot that, you'll get the Good Samaritan who will stop and see if everyone's okay, and then they're going to leave. And like you said, no one gets the witness's name and number, and then, of course, they're gone, and you're never going to track them down. Or at that point, we're using social media, or in the old school days, you'd literally put ads in newspapers saying,
That's right.
Were you a witness to an auto accident that occurred at such and such place at this time on this date, trying to get folks to come forward. So, you hit the nail on the head. Really important. And take photos, not only of the damage of your car, but of any other cars involved in is really important. Well, but witnesses, hands down, are such a key component. And because of time nowadays, a lot of them leave. They're just there to make sure everyone's okay. And then once they hear that, yep, we've called the police are on their way, the witnesses, if no one's in a life-threatening situation, will leave to go wherever they're going. And that really can hamper a case.
Yeah, we get cases where they had eyewitnesses, and they came in and said, I just want to check on you, make sure. And then we'll say, who was the witness? Mm-hmm. I don't know.
Yeah, they never got a name or number.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. So really, really important. So that's good. So along those same lines, if I think the accident is my fault, should I admit at the accident scene that I think it's my fault?
That doesn't sound like a good idea, because you're really excited after an accident, and a lot of times you don't know exactly what happened. So just take a minute, take a deep breath, and let the officers investigate, and you'll figure out later whether it was really your fault or not. But don't rush to any conclusions, 30 seconds or 3 minutes after an accident like that.
And remember that in Mississippi you have something called comparative fault. You can be partially at fault, and they can be partially at fault. So anything you say will be written down and used against you, and it's hard to overcome that type of situation if you said it's my fault. Mm-hmm. So I think you need to leave it up to the police department, just like you said, Mark, and that will be determined later.
Yeah, now I think they'd be honest, be forthright. Now a big thing that we see quite often is the police officer is going to say, how fast were you going? And I mean, how often are you literally checking your speedometer every second? And you're not. So you get a lot of people who guess. And I know you've had the time, Richard, and tell the example that a person before they hired us gave a statement to the insurance company, and it was a 30-mile-per-hour zone. And the insurance adjuster had asked that client, said, how fast were you going? And the guy said, I think I was going 35 miles per hour. And the adjuster's like, aha, you were speeding. So you contributed to the accident. So, again, you want to be honest and forthright. Don't make up things. Don't exaggerate. Don't be dishonest. But it's the police officer's, job to come to that scene, to, analyze the evidence, to take the statements, to make a determination. I mean, the accident report, when we started years ago, Richard, you 40, me 28, Mark, you've been doing it for 24, it was one page. It was a one-page accident. Then it ultimately morphed into a 6-page accident, and now it's morphed into a 14-page accident, and that's only if there's 2 cars involved. So the amount of information that law enforcement puts on an accident report now really helps identify the story. So, you definitely want to make sure everyone involved is okay, but yeah, just, leave it up to the law enforcement folks to make the determination with regard to fault. So I remember one of my most successful trials I had, and I was actually on the other side. As you know, for 6 years I did insurance defense side, is I got a case from an insurance company where a gentleman was being sued because he had turned left in front of a car. On its face, I'd be like, that guy's at fault. What happened at like 11 o'clock at night, the other car did not have headlights on. So we went and tried that car, and I got a defense verdict. Won that case. But, if he went to the scene, if he's just like, I never saw you, and just had said that, on its face, that could have been taken for him admitting fault. But, thankfully, we had our driver, we had a witness who actually stayed and said, yeah, that car coming did not have a single headlight on. It was a dark area within the city of Jackson, so it was just impossible to see it. So definitely be honest and forthright, but, make sure everyone's okay, but don't sit there and try to start admitting fault and things of that nature. Okay? Why should I hire a lawyer? The insurance company will take care of me, right? I mean, that was a question that was on.
They're gonna have lawyers. Yeah.
Well, I'll start off, Mark, and basically there are studies by insurance companies that say you're going to get 3 to 4 times more money if you hire an attorney who knows what they're doing. The problem is if you don't hire a lawyer, unless you know the law and the insurance, you really are putting yourself at the mercy of the insurance company, and they're not there to help you. They're there to help themselves. And basically, why would you talk to an insurance company or talk to someone who's already against you? Don't you need an advocate to help you and make certain that you don't make mistakes? Because the old argument is you wouldn't hire a plumber to do your electrical work because you burn your house down. Unless you know the law, you don't need to do your own legal work. And when you talk to the insurance companies and you tell them things, they're going to try to use that against you. The other thing is they try to give you a quick check. A lot of them will give you a quick check. Even though you're still in pain, even though you hadn't finished treating, they'll try to give you a check because they don't want you to hire a lawyer. Their whole object is not to get you involved with a lawyer at all that knows what they're doing, because they save money and make money. So I think that at the very least, even if you don't hire a lawyer, you need to call one and talk to them.
Yeah, I mean, I know insurance adjusters, they probably have this sticky on their desk. It says a closed file is a good file.
Yeah.
I mean, that's their goal. They want to get closures. You know, they want to be able to get a case closed because guess what? Like you said, Richard, someone today maybe only have a sore shoulder, but 3 months from now it may still be hurting, so they go to a doctor and get an MRI and need surgery, but they've settled for $500 and signed a release.
Right. And then it's over with.
Yep.
And shoulders or knees are weird injuries because you may not know you have a tear for 3 weeks, 3 months.
That's right.
And so you don't need to be in a hurry to settle your case. You need to wait until you're 100% well and before you even talk about settling the case. Now, you can settle your property damage separate.
Yep.
People don't understand that sometimes. Your property damage is from a different part of the policy, so you can settle that while you keep your injury claim open.
Gotcha. All right, Mark, this one's to you. It says, if I hire a lawyer, doesn't that mean I'll have to go to court?
Absolutely not. You know, well over 90% of civil cases are resolved out of court. So don't fear that at all by any means. Just call your lawyer and let him handle it.
You know, and the positive is if it goes to court, you know why it's going to court? Because the insurance company is making a terrible offer, is trying to argue comparative fault. So they are trying to, treat you, the injured person, in a manner that is not satisfactory. And I think what most people don't understand is, when you hire Schwartz and Associates, is we work for the client. So the client is one ultimately who decides if the case settles, decides if a lawsuit is filed. It is their case. Skip and Pearl asked a great one. So here's what he says. He goes, are you talking about the need to hire an attorney when you're fighting against someone else's insurance company or when you're also battling your own insurance company in an automobile accident?
So, that's right. It's the same. Even though you think your insurance company is on your side, they're really on their own side. You pay your premium. They love your premiums, but they'd hate to pay claims. So don't anticipate that they're going to treat you any different because it's your insurance. Now, they do have other duties. They have fiduciary duties that the other insurance or the adverse insurance company does not have. So they have to be treated a little different. And they have responsibilities that only lawyers know how to make certain that you get.
Yeah, but an uninsured motorist claim or even an underinsured motorist claim, we have filed plenty of lawsuits for that because at the end of the day, they are still putting profits over people and try to argue either something's not related, an injury's not related, or that you are also partly at fault for the wreck. So they're trying to find reasons why they can pay as few dollars as possible, and that's why, as Richard mentioned earlier as well as Mark, it really benefits you to have an attorney who's on your side that knows the law and can be your advocate. So really important, if you're injured, you're going to go to the doctor, your car's going to the body shop to get fixed. That's why you need to hire a personal injury law firm who knows what to do.
And of course, it costs you nothing unless we get money for your injury.
Absolutely.
We do it on a contingency basis, and the studies showed you're going to get 3 to 4 times more money. Why wouldn't you hire a lawyer?
That's right.